Hi. What's your name?
Best summer ever!
Anyone want to help me pick some strawberries?
Nope, but I'll give you a hand with those melons. Talking about her boobs.
The writing is so bad.
Howdy, my name is Stephen, and this is the Movie Club podcast. I have a guest with me on this episode. You know them, you love them. We did the episodes on Host, The Beach House, and Random Acts of Violence together. With me this week is Sharon.
Hey guys, I'm back.
We're back. She's back. I'm back. We're both back together, and we're in this episode virtually. Of course, we're not spreading COVID. In this episode, we're going to talk about Todd Strauss Schultz's. I don't know how to say his last name. I'm sorry. His 2015 horror comedy film, The Final Girls. The synopsis for this is: a young woman grieving the loss of her mother, a famous scream queen from the 1980s, finds herself pulled into the world of her mom's most famous movie. Now the women must fight the film's killer together. Sharon, I recommended you this movie. I had it on the list that I'm going to give you of movies I think that you would like. Oh, eventually, sometime, probably 2025.
Fair enough.
And so I knew about this movie. I have never seen it before, but I recommended it because I knew the tone, and I kind of assumed that you would like it. And I had never seen it before. Like I said, I did not like this movie.
What? Why?
It wasn't really scary to me. It wasn't really funny, but it wasn't funny. It's a horror comedy, but it wasn't really funny, and it wasn't really
like you didn't
scary.
even find any of it so bad that it was funny?
No, I found most of it just like hard to watch. Not like hard to watch as in like not like extremely awful. Just like the whole time I was like, they could have done this. They could have did this better. This wasn't really a horror comedy as much of it. It was more like it was like a straight up comedy to me. And for a comedy, none of the jokes really landed for me, or they just didn't work for me. I could get into examples, but I'm not going to. I thought that this movie was going to be more like Scream or Tucker and Dale versus Evil, but it was more like Scary Movie to me. But I don't have a problem with Scary Movie. I like some of the Scary Movie movies, but yeah, I don't know. I wasn't feeling it, and I can get into specifics, but I want to hear your general thoughts first.
So my general thoughts are, I actually really enjoyed this movie. It hit a lot of notes for me. A lot of the jokes that didn't hit for you, they probably only hit for me because I had spent an entire day doing schoolwork and then I watched the movie late at night. Might have had a little bit of alcohol in my system. Who knows?
Who knows?
But it was a great movie, in my opinion. I thought there were quite a few cinematography moments that were just beautifully done. Kind of towards the end more than anything, but like the costumes were very much on par with where they should have been for the time, like especially like in the actual movie stuff.
Yeah,
it was done really well. I was amused to see some familiar faces for the actors in it. Did not expect to see Pitch Perfect dude in this movie.
Oh yeah, is it Adam Devine? Is that who you're talking about? I think
so.
Okay.
I didn't know that off the top of my head.
The dude that plays what's his character's name? Dang it, Kurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And the girl from American Horror Story, I love her. Tessa
Yeah.
Farmiga.
Yeah. Her
Yeah.
mom, I don't know if you know this or not, but it's funny because her mom in this movie was in a horror movie, and her mom in real life is, she plays Lorraine Warren in the Conjuring movies.
Really?
Yeah, that's her mom in real life.
That's
So I thought that was
dope.
cool. Yeah.
Things I never would have known.
It's funny.
Wow.
It's also funny because in the Conjuring universe, the nun, she plays a character. She's like one of the main characters in
Yeah.
which is in the same universe as her mom. Yeah.
That's right. Well, in that movie, doesn't she actually play like a younger version of her mom?
Yeah, kinda. I think that movie was weird.
If I remember it correctly.
Yeah, that kind of happens. I think.
We're not here to talk about that movie.
Thank God we're not here to talk about The Nun, because I didn't like that movie at all.
Other points I loved about this movie, I really like the use, and this is kind of getting into the movie a bit, but I like their usage and portrayal of time. Thought it was really well done. There was some editing choices that I thought were done really well with, like, you know, flashbacky stuff.
Yeah.
And how it affected things. It was kind of cool. Yeah, I really like campy slasher flick things. In my mind, the only thing that would have put this up there with like my current favorite, like stupid horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I say stupid with all the love and endearment in my entire being.
Yeah.
Is the only thing that would have put it up there with like movies like You Might Be the Killer was if they had utilized a kill count.
I see.
Like that would have been hilarious. It could have just been at the bottom corner of the screen the whole time.
That would have been breaking the fourth wall even more.
Right?
I mean, that would have been breaking the fourth wall
indefinitely.
Yeah. This movie was already like meta and like self-aware.
Oh, it was so meta.
But then
that first part, oh God.
Yeah.
Seeing things happen and left and right.
I feel like this is a movie that I would have like ate up if before I had seen movies like Tucker and Dale versus Evil and like Scream, and then like A Cabin in the Woods as well, or The Cabin in the Woods, I mean. But for me, the meta aspect wasn't done well enough for them to do it. Like they like, yes, they were self-aware, but they also broke some of the tropes that they were going after and like they were pointing out. Like there's a point, there's a self-aware horror movie kind of guide, and they just fall into the tropes of the movies that they already know about. And like if that was the point of like, oh, they're in a horror movie, so then they have to do these tropes even though they don't want to, then that would make sense. But that's already the case in like The Cabin in the Woods. But they don't do that here. So when the horror movie guide, the self-aware horror movie guide, does something dumb, and I'm just like, you know that this is what happens in horror movies and slasher movies, but you do them anyway. And for me, you brought up the cinematography, and I think that there's a lot of, this movie has a visual
Beautiful
style.
shots.
Yeah.
Like just beautiful shots.
Yeah, and it's a lot of the camera work is really well done. There's a lot of like robo crane kind of like robotic movements of the camera. So like all of the visual style and the tricks are fantastic, but I feel like at one point I was just like, okay, it might be too much. Like I don't think that I've ever said that with a movie before, just because it doesn't seem like it's adding anything to the movie besides just for like the sake of doing it. Like there's a sequence where the camera just like kind of moves all over the cabin that they're in, and it goes from like character to character to character, and it's all like supposed to be one shot. But I'm like, what's the point of it? It's like it doesn't show like chaos, or it just doesn't do anything with it. It seems like they were kind of just like, this is a cool concept, we should just do this, and without any like meaning behind it. I really don't want to just rag on this movie, but I'm going to. So like, I didn't like the characters of Paula, Tina, and Kurt. For me, they were all just like, the acting was just so over the top. And it wasn't like, it was over the top in a way of like, there's a level of like, we're being meta and we're being self-aware, so we're supposed to be over the top. But like, this was beyond that. It was just like, there was bad acting underneath that purposeful bad acting.
Yeah, I can agree with that. And I think they were written to be like that. Because it kind of fits with the trope of what, I feel like we're getting more into like what the movie consists of. Yeah. So warning everyone. Now we're getting towards like spoilers and talking about the movie.
Yeah, let's get into it.
So like, when they're in the movie, legitimately in the theater rather, we see glimpses into the actual movie, enough to know like when they actually end up in it, we know what's going on a little bit. Yeah. In the moments where we saw the actual movie, we could see right away that it was just bad. Right. And I mean like probably, I don't want to say this because I like most movies from this decade, but like most, like a bad 80s movie. Okay. Yeah. And it really pains me to say that because I really like movies from the 80s. Well, yeah, I mean, there's definitely some bad. There's some gems, like Dead and Buried, which you still haven't watched. I still haven't watched it yet. It's on my list to watch by the end of the month. We should, yeah. We'll talk about it. Watch it. I was gonna say we should do a podcast on it, but that's a whole separate thing. So, I mean, I don't think in that sense that those characters were supposed to be like these more meta things, at least until, what was the mom's character's name? Was it Nancy? Nancy. Up until like towards the parts where she was like, oh, I'm just the shy girl with the guitar and the clipboard. Yeah. Like, okay. You're also a blonde. Does that mean you die first? Right. Yeah. It kind of becomes one of those things like, so do you live or do you die in the first 10 minutes of the movie kind of thing? Which, sadly, everybody, the mother character does die within the first 10 minutes of the movie, but not during the actual movie sequence in which I'm referring to. Yeah, and then she also... We're already. It's weird. Yeah, no. It's a very confusing movie to talk about. It's a very trippy. We can talk about it in like in terms of like Camp Blood, and in terms of Camp Bloodbath. Right, Camp Bloodbath. Right, Camp Blood is the nickname for Camp Crystal Lake in the Friday the 13th world. Exactly. I was like, don't mix up these movies. Definitely not. So there's, like I said, there's some things I like about this movie, like the visual style, even though I do think it gets overused at some point. And like, I mean, this is more of a writing kind of thing, but I just feel like I really didn't like the dialogue, the way that it was. Maybe they improvised on set. Maybe it was different. I mean, they really very well could have done that for like the actual Camp Bloodbath elements of it. They were probably like, hey guys, here's this general scene. Here's what you know. Run with it. Do it. Yeah. Because like, there were definitely elements where I was just like, I hope that's the way that was not written. I hope it did not happen like that. Yeah. And I feel like, I mean, I don't say this, I don't think I've ever said this for any movie really, but I feel like this movie really could have worked better if it was rated R, because it's PG-13, I believe, or at least really? It feels like it's PG-13, because there's not. It's like for the they writers talk about nudity.
Right.
They don't
talk
really
about
show
nudity.
nudity.
They don't show any nudity, but it's like it doesn't seem like this is a love letter to slashers or like classic good slashers of the day. This is more of a spoof and a parody of it, which is what, maybe I didn't like this movie because of my expectations. Maybe I just thought this was supposed to be like a horror comedy meta kind of like
You
the
gotta
movies
go
that I've
into
named.
movies with real low bars. That way you're always impressed. That's my mantra.
Yes, I see. I mean, I see. I mean, I really should do that, and I know that I should do that. But like, I don't know. It just didn't work for me. It didn't seem like it was. It didn't seem like the writers had love for classic slashers. It seemed like they were just making fun of. And it seemed like the only slashers that they saw were bad slasher movies, like Sleepaway Camp. Have you seen Sleepaway Camp? It seems like they were like, yeah, exactly. It seems like they were trying to make fun of that movie. And like those were the only slashers that they knew. It's like they didn't know that Halloween or Friday the 13th or movies like that existed. They were.
I'm going to challenge you.
Okay.
Don't they say in like the movie, like in showbiz, the best way to show flattery is by mimicry? Because they weren't just mimicking bad horror, as you called it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this could arguably be like a love letter written to like Friday the 13th, which is what I immediately assumed given like the
Camp
killer.
Bloodbath.
Like, I mean, he wasn't.
The story. Yeah. The killer.
Like our killer wasn't drowned, but he did face like a terrible thing at a summer camp.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, I personally liked his storyline better than Friday the 13th a little bit.
Yeah. I can see
that. That's a personal thing. I like the fact that he actually made his mask. It wasn't just a hockey mask.
Yeah.
More or less, that was the main thing. But I would argue to say that this movie is like a love letter to like movies like Friday the 13th and stuff. Because it is like the basis to flattery is mimicry.
See, I don't know about that because it's like when I'm watching movies like this and movies like Scary Movie, I don't feel like the writers.
Scary Movie is a different story. That's different.
I'm pairing them together because even though I like the Scary Movie franchise more than. Yeah, but really just the first one. I like that more than I liked this movie. So I don't mean to group them together because I do think that this is a worse movie than that movie, honestly. But it doesn't seem like the writers and directors of those movies love the movies that they're parodying or spoofing. But like when you watch movies like Shaun of the Dead and you watch movies like Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Those movies are horror comedies, and they are self-aware, pretty much. I mean, they're self-aware. The directors and the writers going into them, the Tucker and Dale versus Evil is more self-aware than Shaun of the Dead in the context of the movie. But I feel like those movies. What I'm trying to say is. I mean, I already said what I was trying to say. This movie doesn't seem like it has love for those movies. It's like it's making fun of the genre in more of a spoofy kind of way rather than like Shaun of the Dead, which showed like it had a love for the genre and it respected the genre. I guess this movie doesn't seem like it respects the classic kind of slasher movies that paved it the way for this movie to be made and make sense.
What if they did it this way to warrant a larger scale audience than what would have normally been encompassed by it if it was done how you were anticipating it to be done?
You mean like a more commercial audience, like Scary Movie and stuff?
Yeah.
I don't know. That argument doesn't really jive for me because I'm like, if you made this movie to be more commercial than what you were originally intended, and you had that original like Shaun of the Dead kind of intentions, and you change the script and stuff like that to make it more commercial, that's not a good idea. That's not a good enough reasoning to make the movie. I mean, like, if you wrote the movie with the intention of making it one kind of way, and then you're like, oh no, well, we got to change it to make it more commercial and make more money, and that's bad.
I was just putting out another angle.
No,
I really liked the movie.
No. I don't.
I'm trying to justify it. That's all I'm trying to do.
No, I appreciate that, and I really don't mean to shit on this movie as much as I am, but I wanted this movie to be better, I think, is the problem. I really wanted this movie to be something that I liked. I mean, I always go into a movie wanting to like the movie and wanting to like.
But you go in
aspects.
with such high expectations and anticipations. You can't do that. You'll face constant disappointment just about.
Maybe that's the problem. Maybe that is the problem.
I'm telling you, set the bar low and just go into movies.
But it did have a lot of, I don't know. I mean, there's movies that you don't like, right? I mean, there's movies that you don't enjoy watching, even with low expectations. So that's not always the answer. So maybe if I had low expectations, I still might have.
I face, like, if you were to compare, like, my Letterboxd statistics to lower rated movies compared to yours.
Oh yeah,
I have a lot more higher rated movies.
Have you compared? Because they probably are different. Okay, yeah.
You've also rated a lot more movies than I have because I'm in school.
Yeah, that's true.
And I got on the Letterboxd train really late in the game, too.
I feel like you.
So.
I don't know. I feel like you rate a lot of movies and you watch a lot of movies. But,
not as much as I used to.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah, I mean that's a fair argument. Wait, so back into the movie and me shitting on this movie. Let me just shit on it more. I didn't like how this movie. It didn't seem like there was any cohesiveness within within the Camp Blood characters. It seemed like all of them were just separate people, and they're not like a group of friends like it originally had shown while they were in the movie theater. Like, they were going in the van and all that stuff, but then they're not a group of friends who like interact. They're just like separate people kind of.
So you're talking about like the Camp Bloodbath counselor characters.
Characters, yes. Because they
just wanted to make sure I was seeing like the right group of people.
Yeah. They all kind of just like do their own thing.
And I think that that's done like that because in that moment we're in the movie, like we're in Camp Bloodbath.
Right.
Like we're in that movie.
But like movies,
so we don't know because we haven't seen the entirety of the movie from that scene where they're in the theater and stuff. Like, so it's like they're picking and choosing different elements to give us enough information of the movie to know what they're changing. Yeah. In order to, like, you know, inevitably in the hopes of saving a character or two. Yeah. Without giving a whole lot of spoilers.
I don't know, because it's like the characters in like Friday the 13th, they have more depth than the characters and than most of the characters in this movie, minus the lead, Max. I
love her.
I will eventually I will get on to talking about what I liked about the movie more. But I have to get all of this out.
Stay tuned, y'all.
Yeah, please don't please don't leave. But I guess I want to just talk this out because I want to see your thoughts on this. Yeah. So the characters in Camp Bloodbath and the characters in the
Meta
Final
universe.
Girls, yes, they both seem like they don't. They all kind of seem like they're not
mesh.
But they're like in real life they are a group of friends in the camp. Ooh, in the Final Girls, those characters are like friends in real life. And some of them, yes. But all of the characters
used to be friends.
And some of them used to be friends. But all of the characters in this movie seem like they don't really mesh together in like the same kind of world. It seems like the Camp Bloodbath characters are all of the actors and the characters, they're actually in like separate movies playing their own stereotypes, doing their own thing. So it's like Adam Devine's character Kurt. He's just like doing his own thing.
Stereotypical, like want to smash bullcrap.
Right. He's like typical bro, but like every word out of his mouth, it doesn't seem like every word out of his mouth, it seems like he's trying to be Adam Devine, making all of the words coming out of his mouth be a joke. But it seems like the characters in that movie, Camp Bloodbath, they wouldn't. I haven't seen a slasher movie where a character is like that, like a 1980s slasher movie that is like in Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street and Halloween. There's no character who's like there for comedic relief. It seems like Adam Devine is just in this movie being Adam Devine.
They wrote that character specifically for him.
or he just like improvised all of his shit on set.
Or they're like, hey, Adam, come in. We got a role for you. You don't have any lines. Just do you.
Just do your own thing. Yeah. And that's...
Here's like a general phrase you need to say in this scene.
Yeah, and that's like a problem for me. And I don't like that because it's like, have you seen The Babysitter on Netflix?
The first one or the new one?
The first one.
I have seen the first one. I haven't seen the new one yet.
So I feel like it's the same kind of problem with that movie where not all of the characters seem like they're doing their own thing. It does seem like that. But
well,
not
all
as
of those characters definitely were.
Yeah, but they're not. I feel like they're not doing it as much. No. They might be doing it equally as much because there's like Bella Thorne who's playing like the cheerleader stereotype. I don't know. It's basically my exact same problems. And then there's like King Batch who's like doing his own thing, improvising what it seems like talking about Vine and stuff. And I'm just like, no. At least Adam Devine is kind of improvising in character, where it seems like King Batch was.
And he knows his like target humor.
Right. Yeah.
He knows what it works for him. Yeah. Kind of thing. And
there's this movie talks about tropes and problems with movies in that era, but then doesn't really say anything about them or comment on them. They just like kind of point them out. Like Adam Devine's character, Kurt, he just points out, he like calls a woman, I forgot which character, Nina Dobrov or something like that.
Oh, the chick playing the mean girl.
Yes, the chick playing the mean girl. He calls her.
I know her from Vampire Diaries. Right. I don't remember her character name.
That's what she's from, right? So he calls her fun bags, and then she's like, "Ha ha, funny sexism." But then like, that's the end of the thing. So it's
he looked at her kind of confused.
Right.
If I remember right.
Like, but it's like this movie comments on like tropes and like problems with movies in that era sometimes, but then it also doesn't say anything about them and moves on, or it just like.
But it does come back
itself
with his character, because when Kurt is sitting with the blonde jock guy from the theater, and he's like, "Ooh, look at this article! Like, look at this magazine! Look at these." I think the term he used was Hooters.
Yeah.
Just hooting.
Yeah. Just hooting. Just hooting.
And then the blonde guy just. I want to say he curb stomps him, but he doesn't actually curb stomp him. But that's the vibe I got from it.
He like shuts him down, and he's like, "Hey,
he
you
like
shouldn't
gets
be doing
aggressive
that."
with it, like whack.
Right. But I think it wasn't.
That was beautiful.
It wasn't in defense of these women. It was like in defense of someone that he thought was like his woman, which was Max, the character Max. So I'm like, it's not really like justified, because it's like if he was like, "Hey, you shouldn't be like." You shouldn't be talking about women.
He also did try to be like, "Oh, look at those articles. I could read those all night long," kind of thing.
Yeah.
That made me laugh.
Yeah.
When I heard that, I was like, "Oh."
I saw that it was a joke, but I was like, "What? I don't know what the heart of this joke is," because I'm like, is he supposed to be like a brainiac, and that's why he's saying that, or he's just like trying to get him?
No, he was saying that as a distraction, because the main goal of that whole like
was to stop
set of
him from
scenes
having sex.
was to stop all the characters from having sex.
Right. Yeah. But I'm like, why did you think that was gonna work when it's like, I don't know. It's
Divert
like,
the attention.
I got the I got the joke. I just didn't get necessarily the meaning behind the joke, or that the character in that movie would think that it would work to get him distracted. And I'm probably diving way too deep into this whole movie, but I don't know. I really wanted this movie to be better. I think that maybe in a better writer's hands, it could have been better. But for this movie, I don't know.
And I mean, that's a fair thing. Like, I mean, my review of the movie isn't flawless. Like, I do think that there were elements they could have done better. I mean, I gave it a 4.5 because I really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, there was a few times where I was like, okay, this acting's so bad, it's funny. And then other times where I was like, all right, this is just bad.
Yeah.
But in my brain, there was more, this is so bad, it's good.
Okay. See,
because I got the vibe that they were just, in a way, they were like being a try hard.
Yeah.
And I find any movie that try hard, like, is got a try hard vibe, and any person who is just a try hard, I find them like kind of humorous to be around for any amount of time.
Well, did you like Happy Death Day?
I did.
I feel like this movie. Yeah. No. I liked Happy Death Day. I really liked Happy Death.
And I really liked the second one too.
I liked the second one as well.
So.
But I feel like this movie could have had should have had a similar tone to that, instead of like taking itself a little bit more seriously than it did. Because I feel like Happy Death Day was comedic, and it was very like lighthearted, kind of funny tone, like black comedy kind of, but it took itself seriously for the most part. And this movie just like, it didn't take itself seriously at all. It was just like all kind of comedic, and there was nothing in there. I don't know. There was just nothing in here that was interesting to me, minus like the visual style. But so let me talk about something I did like in this movie. I
Finally.
liked the most interesting part in this movie, character-wise, was the relationship between the mother and the daughter.
Agree.
Max and Nancy. Their relationship, but their relationship was touching, but the movie doesn't focus on that relationship enough for me. Because what I remember from this movie, looking back at it now, and kind of in the moment, I mean, they touched on the side characters more than the relationship that should have been holding this movie together. But I think that this movie falls apart for me because the character drama and the relationship that's at the core of this movie, they're not focused on it enough. And when they do focus on it, it's really good. That's hands down the best thing. The visual style that, I mean, it's good for my eyes, and it's like that. But then what keeps my heart into the movie is the relationship, the trauma that she's been through, and like trying to get over it. But then,
and the acceptance and empowerment that comes with
that.
Like letting her mom go.
Yeah. And like the closure and everything like that. So
also, can I just say,
yeah.
Like the sequence, like after her mom, dies in the movie, like in Camp Bloodbath, like that whole moment where like she has her eyes closed and then she opens them and then she's like, all right, I'm ready to fight. Yeah. And goes into like this wicked kick-ass like fight scene with like this beautiful skyline with like thunder and lightning. I'm just like, whoa.
That was great. That was beautifully choreographed.
Like whoever was like the fight coordinator and stunt choreographer for those scenes, impeccable. Like chef's kiss, like wow.
Yeah. No, I really did like the sky in that. And like the colors in this movie,
So vibrant.
so vibrant. So
That would not happen in the 80s.
yeah. No. It definitely wouldn't have.
It would have been grainy. It wouldn't have been as saturated.
Yeah. And
I don't know all the proper terminologies here, but I'm just doing my best.
That works. We get it. So we talked about like how this movie does something that a lot of slashers in the day couldn't have done, like with the cinematography and the colors. But I feel like this movie could have borrowed from those movies of that age by having less like CGI and making the kills more interesting, in both in concept and visually. Because I mean, even though obviously it's
Could have
not
made
the
the
point.
kills darker, like darker lighting
Yeah,
to symbolize like the light leaving the people and like end of that character.
that's true. Or yeah, to like make it more.
Because in a lot of horror movies, like in a death scene, like the light, I don't know if it's just a noticeable thing to me, but sometimes the lighting shifts to be like a grade darker. I don't know if that's just a me thing.
Huh.
I might just be crazy.
You might just be then just might be the
I might just be seeing what I want to see in the movie. Or my screen, both TV and computer screen for streaming stuff, like it just might suck.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know.
I'll have to watch some things and get back to you on that. But I feel like this movie could have taken those things that are great from classic slasher movies and put them into this movie by, like I said, like making the kills more interesting, even though that's not the point of the movie, and having less CGI, and just like having the level of violence of classic slashers in general, because I feel like, I mean, and maybe I might go back to this movie being PG-13 instead of rated R.
And
But I
that's
don't know.
fair. I could definitely see the rating having something to do with it. And that the rating just plays back into what I had said before about them going for like a larger demographic
Right. Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
movie.
That might have been what happened behind the scenes, the studio, or
They were like, how can we get the most bang for our buck?
make it PG-13.
Ideas.
Yeah. And typically
Make jokes
horror
about
movies.
feminism and sexism. Imply that there are going to be nudity and then don't show it. Awesome. Print it.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah. And that is kind of a common thing in the movie business with horror movies. We're making them PG-13 to get more eyeballs on it and more money. So that might have been the behind the scenes thing.
It might have been. But to get all the true horror fans out there, hello, world of showbiz, we want the rated R or NC-17 at minimum.
We want I want whatever can make the movie great. I don't want, like, if the writers had written a rated R movie and then they went to the studio and they were like, no, you have to make this down to PG-13, that means that they're taking out things that originally brought the studio to buy the script, which is not good. So you're taking out elements that were purposely in there that you liked, but now you have to change it all around because you wanted to be PG-13 to make more money.
Or just pan the cameras up instead of out.
They could have done a lot of things.
Because I feel like for one scene, they definitely did that, if that was like a reasoning.
Yeah.
Like the scene where they're like trying to lure the killer back to the cabin. And they have
right. Yes.
the Tina character.
Yeah, Tina. And she's
like hyped up on Adderall.
Yeah, and for some reason, and then she's like doing
Well,
a
she
striptease.
found the pills, and
I mean,
they had her fully clothed because they were like, "Listen, homie, the second you start taking off your clothes, he's gonna show up. We're not ready." They have this woman in like a life jacket, like a jacket, a life jacket, oven mitts that are duct taped.
Yeah,
and she's like, "Why?"
And then they explain it, but then like I see like I don't get the purpose of the Adderall joke. It's like why did she have to find the pills and take them? I don't see, like, that didn't add anything to the scene, and it was just kind of like a separate joke.
I think it was a tie back to what the Nina Dobreva's character had said at the actual movie theater.
Right, yeah, and she was like...
Where she was talking about having taken Adderall and stuff, and she like showed the bottle.
Yeah,
and then put it in her pocket.
But that doesn't have to... It didn't have to come back.
It was in the jacket pocket.
I mean, yes, just... But... And like typically in movies... And then the
Tina character got it out, and she opened it.
Right.
She was eventually she was told that they were Tic Tacs, I think.
Yeah. Like off camera. So
she was just like, nom 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 nom.
Yeah, I get that. But I'm like... How
many of my Tic Tacs did you eat?
It doesn't... 30. It still doesn't make sense within like the writing of the movie for that joke to happen. Because it's like, it doesn't add anything to the striptease scene. Or like, it doesn't make the movie more difficult. They're still... Everything is still achieved no matter what. It seems like the movie just kind of like took a pause and was like, we need to put this joke in, or wouldn't it be funny if this character that's dumb is on like Adderall? And like I said,
I'm trying to think back to that scene.
I might be diving too deep into the jokes and like all of this, but
I think you are. You need to like go have a drink and then watch the movie again.
If I was drunk while I watched this movie, I don't know. Maybe I would like.
Like I don't even mean drunk. Like I just mean like a little bit tipsy.
Maybe.
I mean, I just had one glass of alcohol, and I had so much enjoyment from this movie.
Well, yeah, but there's still things that I like. Like I said, I like the visual style, the relationship. I like the title card. The title card was kind of reminded me of John Carpenter's The Thing. The music in this movie was killer. I want to listen to the soundtrack.
What about when in one of the flashback scenes when the car hit the killer and like it knocked into like
the letters? See, that's what I'm talking about. Like the visual style and the tricks like that is something I had never seen before. I really liked that.
Like that was hilarious.
That was great. But like, see, like this movie didn't make me laugh out loud, and I wish that it did. I mean, like Tucker and Dale versus Evil, that doesn't make me laugh out loud, but it is very clever, and like I will see the joke and I see the humor and I like get it, and
it's just not your humor.
Well, no, it's like Tucker and Dale. I mean, I think that this movie just might not be my humor. Because it is kind of like slapsticky.
It's very slapstick, yeah.
And there's like characters falling and tripping, and it's like people getting hit by cars. And while
I'm a horrible person. I think all of that's funny.
but like, so like the part where the killer gets hit by the car and then he gets knocked into the like summer 1957 or
19
something
whatever.
Like that. And that happens, and that's great. And like
that was hilarious.
But like when Duncan gets hit by the car, I'm like, oh great, he got hit by a car. And it was like earlier in the movie,
that
he like
sucks.
tripped over the red like line at the theater. Yeah,
the velvet rope.
Yeah, the velvet rope. And I was just like, what? I don't know. I
think he was just written to be a klutz.
Yeah, and I'm just like, God.
I was kind of here for it. Just like his whole like hype and excitedness, it makes sense that he would trip over shit like that.
Right, yeah, it does.
At least in that moment, because he was just like, ooh, I'm gonna put her down as a maybe for the Q&A, even though she said no. Ooh.
Yeah.
Because my sister is her best friend.
Yeah.
Kind of crap.
And I'm gonna go back to Max. The character, she's a more developed character than I would have expected this movie to bring out. And like the relationship between her and her mom is more developed than what I would have expected this movie to bring, considering it feels like a straight up comedy, like a slapstick kind of comedy movie.
Never would have thought a song could have given me so many emotional feels.
Yeah. But I'm not gonna get into my problem with that scene. Well, never mind. I'm gonna get into it. was that song playing in that world? Like, was it playing just like from the sky, was her character aware of the meaning behind that song in real life? Like, was she starting to remember? Because I thought she was doing some of the same dance moves.
She was doing some of the same dance moves, but
So
I'm
that
not
kind of
sure.
That's just kind of like a logical
fallacy
kind of thing that I had. Yeah. But yeah, but the character of but the character of Max reminded me of Sydney from Scream, because Max in this movie, she felt more real than anyone else. Like, she's the one character who you're
kind of just rooting for. Yeah,
she's the only character that really has an arc or any kind of development at all, really. Because she is the final girl.
And in most horror movies, that's typically the way of the right.
Yeah.
Like, the final girl is typically the only one who really gets any sort of arc.
Right.
In most cases. Depending on the series.
Yeah. Well, Sharon, I think I've shit on this movie enough. Do you have anything? But like I said, there are things that I like. Do you have anything else that you want to talk about?
Ooh, can I bring up the thing I brought up before we started recording?
Yes, you can.
Does anyone else remember when Stage 6 used to pirate movies? Because now they're out here producing, and I think this is the most amazing, like, redemptive arc of a company.
They have their own character arc in this company? They do. It's
a meta inside the meta.
They did this on purpose. I wonder if I haven't seen or heard of anyone else talk about that besides you.
See, so. I don't think many other people remember that far of Stage 6.
Yeah. Well,
most people have kind of left it to the past because there's so many other ways to go about finding things online for movie watching and streaming purposes.
Yeah. This is true.
Most people don't have the need to download things anymore. And then, also the fact that I'm pretty sure their website died. So I could be wrong about that. Don't hold me to that. I have also fallen victim to the other ways of the world as it's progressed as far as streaming services. But I do remember fondly the Stage 6 era of watching movies. That might get me in trouble later, but I'm going to stand by that statement.
If anyone else is, make sure you comment below and let Sharon know that she's not alone.
And if you're a part of Stage 6 of the company, worker, or know someone affiliated with them, tell them I would love to be a part of anything that they do, because I love them and I support them wholeheartedly.
We'll put Sharon's email in the description of the video and then of this podcast. So Sharon, let's get into the grade. You said that you gave this 4.5 out of 5 stars.
I believe I did. That sounds right.
Okay.
Because I was like, it hit a lot of the marks for me. It was funny. Yep, 4.5.
Ooh.
I loved it.
It
was funny. I rate movies based on my enjoyment.
Right. Yeah. Of course.
So I didn't I stand by what I said before. The kill count would have put it at a 5-star movie. All horror movies should have a kill count, so I don't have to keep track of the number of people that are dying.
Well, I think there's a YouTube channel that does like a breakdown.
There is.
Yeah.
And if any other horror movie fans are a fan of Joe Bob Briggs, he does a body count in his breakdown commentary.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I came into this review with the rating in my head of like a 2.5 out of 5 stars, which is 5 out of 10. but after this, I don't know. I have to either put it at a 4 out of 10 or a 3 out of 10. I don't know, because just because I feel like there's not enough for me to ever rewatch this movie, and I didn't get enough enjoyment out of it. But I see that there's so much potential that's there with the relationship between Nancy and Max, and then like I said, what the director brought to it visually and what the cinematographer brought to it. Like, there's so much potential there. It could have been so much better for me. And the movie that I got, I just really did not like. And I love the genre. I love horror, and I love horror comedies. But this one just really misses it for me. I'm sad to say. I was gonna say, I see your disappointment. I feel you make me feel bad about giving this movie 3.5.
You should feel bad.
3 out of 10 stars.
I mean, I'm glad it at least went up from your initial rating. But
no, it went down because it was 2.5 out of 5 stars.
Out of 5.
Yeah,
Crap.
so which is a 5 out of 10. So now I gave it like a 3 or 4. Yeah, sorry, but there is a short film that this director did, which is on Vimeo, and I will send it to you, and hopefully we'll put it in the description. I really enjoy that movie, that short. Like, that's one of my favorite short films, but it is completely different than this movie. So I'm not sure if you would like it or not, but I am interested to hear your thoughts.
I might.
So
I tend to surprise people with what I like, so. Who knows?
Okay, now I really want to know what you think of this short film. So now you have to come back and you have to let the people know in the comments. You got to
remind me.
Yeah. Okay.
We don't film these very close together, y'all.
We don't. This is being recorded October 5th, and it'll probably, I don't know when it'll come out.
Shakis will probably cut that out.
Well, that
He's
reminds us.
Like, you don't need to date these things.
That's true. Now he has to cut it out, or he'll just leave all of this in, and he'll be like, "Haha, tricked him." So
Sharon,
Sharon,
think it's funny.
Yeah, he won't. He'll either think it's really funny and leave it in, or he'll think that it's not funny at all and he'll take it out.
Yep.
So Sharon, thank you for joining me on this episode, very long episode of the Movie Club podcast.
Definitely needed, though. I think it was a good movie. You had a lot to say about it that was against it, but it did have some redemptive qualities in it for you a little bit.
It did.
So it may not have been enough to gain it any points.
Yeah.
But the movie still has my love, and I think that should warrant it to be enough for our viewership to go and watch it.
Yes. Well, yeah, of course. If you are interested in this movie, then I would recommend that you make up your own mind. At least go
watch it for the meta.
Yeah. Do
it for the meta. That way you'll understand what the heck we were saying.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. Watch it for the meta.
Watch it for the meta. Instead of do it for the vine, do it for the meta.
Do it for the meta. Well, I would say that if anyone is interested in watching this movie, then they should go watch it and then let us know in the comments. Like, don't just take our reviews and our thoughts on the surface level. Just go watch it and make up your own opinion for yourself, and then come back and kind of comments and let us know. So Sharon, where can the people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Letterboxd at Sleepy Sharon. And that's probably the easiest one for me to tell you right off the top of my head.
And you can follow me on Letterboxd at CUTTOBLACK. I usually just say at cut TO black, but on Letterboxd, but I'm not gonna do that.
Do I need to spell out mine?
No, Sleepy Sharon is pretty, but the two can confuse people because there's 3 different versions because of homophones with the word two. So like I said, thank you for joining me, and thank you to everyone who is listening, and thank you for making it this far. We really appreciate it. Make sure you come back next Wednesday for another episode of the Movie Club. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Enjoy Trey's pre-recorded outro.
What's happening? It's slow motion.
Thank you for listening to the podcast. Make sure that you check out the other shows that we have on the Facebook, the other main podcast that comes out every other Tuesday. Make sure you leave a like, share it with your friends and your family. Go check out our YouTube where we have content from other Production 1200 works. And make sure you follow us on the Instagram. We post sometimes there. We'll do more. We'll try. Maybe. Like us on iTunes podcast, rate and review. Give us them 5 stars. And we'll see you next time.